begins with a decision over 3 years ago to attempt to build the Tesla Roadster from scratch. This was a risky proposition, given the person's past car work was limited to replacing spark plugs. In this video, we will share a unique journey from the initial decision to build an EV Tesla Roadster to the challenges faced during the process, and finally, to the end result of a fully functional electric supercar. Step 1. Suspension and steering. The first step of this project was the suspension and steering setup, which were things the man was not entirely at ease with. This learning curve accelerated when I bought the K1 Attack Kit, expecting to be provided with comprehensive instructions, but found no manual at all. The setback did not discourage the spirit, but propelled the need for independence and thrift. It took the unique mixture of persistence and the sheer wealth of knowledge available on YouTube to push the person forward. Every vocation, whether riveting, wiring, soldering, welding, or painting, was conquered from scratch. It was like solving a puzzle, slowly showing the desired model. Step 2. Brakes. A deeper dive into brake technology was another milestone. Using brake lines to tell what a single and double flare are was an educational lesson. What was equally fascinating to discover was the fact that piston size in the brake caliper was an important factor in the diameter of the brake master cylinder. Throughout the journey, the work was not an individual pursuit. Family members came in handy as enthusiastic aides and evangelists, which made the process far more manageable. Step 3. Tesla motor. The person's first experience with a cooling system was a Jeep Cherokee's radiator and a Bosch electric pump. And then came the horrifying business of mounting the Tesla motor. These were intense steps that required learning from the ground up, leaving you with an inescapable sense of achievement. And then find a key piece, a 12-volt power source that keeps everything safe throughout. But doing the wiring for this Tesla wasn't outsourced. Instead, it was an at-home affair aided by some key vital tools. It wasn't an easy ride though. Sometimes wires melted, providing a burnt-out side note to the ride. This helped them realize that fuses are more than mere components. They're safety components that keep the wiring from overheating. It was a costly lesson like this that helped build cars. Another new skill to add to the list is that the man learned how to solder. This crucial step allowed wires to be connected safely and irreversibly. With each solder, the individual became more aware of what each wire should be called and that there was order and detail in how the electric car had to be built. It was decided to try out electric vehicles to give the build an added twist. They went with a better, more technologically advanced rear drive system from a reputable Tesla Performance Model S. Even though they had no fancy project equipment on hand, but this didn't hinder progress. Instead, it headed towards the digital world, where we learned to model specific parts of the Tesla Roadster using computer-aided design or CAD. Completely installing the Tesla unit meant tweaking the car's chassis. Such alterations had to be made to accommodate the Tesla subframe, setting the scene for another profession: welding. Yes, it was my first attempt at welding too. Step 4. Battery management. Car building is not straightforward, especially when it involves complex battery and high-voltage handling operations. That starts with knowing what batteries are and, more importantly, how the battery manager works. Since all batteries need a location to store them, making and constructing a specific battery box is one such memorable project. Each battery box contains elaborate wiring and connection mechanisms. For example, the battery controller must know exactly how much voltage each battery cell is carrying. That means creating a vast circuit board and making sure every component is hooked up and running correctly. Once the battery is configured and the management software is in place, the path enters more spooky territory: high voltage. It's a delicate exercise to crimp or reconfigure the wires to handle high power safely. The next step involves interacting with the controller area network or CAN network. But here's something new, something that you've never done before. It's fun because a CAN is the car's nervous system, making sure everything speaks to each other. It's the final blow, the motor turning for the first time. Seeing the motor move after all the work and effort is exciting and rewarding. It's a sign that you've successfully assembled the car's most essential parts. Step 5. Seats, wheels, and tires. The next step was putting the seats on. That's not an easy task for a Tesla Roadster that didn't come equipped with seat brackets in the first place. But the feeling of accomplishment is priceless when the seats are locked and the car stands upright on its wheels. Then comes the excitement of the first drive. But every ride presents a new challenge. The car's incessant need for speed must be contained so it never goes too fast. When we overcome the obstacle, the sense of accomplishment is pretty exciting. Step 6. Fiberglass panels and doors. Installing fiberglass siding and doors is an additional challenge. This effort doesn't come with a manual and is highly challenging. Every object has to be carefully crafted and sometimes made utterly new. But over time and perseverance, everything comes together in small pieces to create the body of the Tesla Roadster. The center console controls the vehicle's engine. The gear selector, which she borrowed from a Honda Odyssey minivan, is at the console center. Adding a radio and switches completes the final touches to the car. Of course, the door locks are a basic security precaution. Step 7. Vinyl wrapping. And what's more, vinyl wrapping for the first time guarantees that the Tesla Roadster exterior looks good. It is indeed a challenge, but practice makes perfect. And yet, the exotic appeal of the car doesn't just come with vinyl paint. We need a lot of adjustments, particularly to the Tesla Roadster's massive fiberglass upper frame portion that contains the Tesla drive unit. Because the unit is extensive, the car fenders must be extended roughly 3 to 4 inches on either side. He's still an amateur at fiberglass fabrication. However, figuring out designs and molds to create an improved appearance for the car's longer wheelbase is an adrenaline rush. And yet the product, for all the energy and time spent in its making, is brilliant. That sweeping, low-slung car body is a true supercar. Every time you get a chance, taking the car out boosts morale and keeps the creative process going. But the car manufacturing process is by no means complete. While it might appear to be finished on the outside, there's still a lot of details to consider on the inside, including installing the rear diffuser, trunk area, taillights, and an ideal location for a charging port. Every last detail counts, right down to filling the gaps in the panels, which takes time and skill. You want to tweak them to factory quality so the car looks professional. A personal dash display is also designed to personalize the inside of the vehicle. There's even a glove box built into the dash display. Congratulations, because we're getting to the end of building a car. A good deal is spent purely on beautifying it. The artist set about learning hydro dipping, a technique used to decorate objects as large as cars and as small as headlights, taillights, and mirrors. As this went on, many issues came up. While many and sometimes scary, such challenges were successfully navigated with little assistance. Once they had ironed these problems out, the happy result was the car's registration. Once registered, the vehicle would be a source of joy and pride, at long last capable of being driven on public roads and shared with friends and colleagues. The fun didn't end there because driving this car is insanely fun if you take it up the canyons. However, the process of creating this car was far from complete. They thought of every small thing. They polished out the most minor flaws to make it as perfect as possible. The roof was constructed from panels with custom-cut shapes, which enhanced the look and function of the vehicle. Step 8. Painting and final touch-ups. Next up was painting. Even for a novice, the paintwork was delicate. Multiple rounds of paint correction were required to produce the finish we wanted. But when the car was restored, the designer was left looking at his first build, praying that others would find it as stunning as he did. And here's the Tesla Roadster ready to ride. Building an EV Tesla Roadster from scratch is no easy feat. From the first bolt to the final touch-ups, it requires patience, determination, and a passion for cars and engineering. But in the end, seeing the finished product and being able to drive it on public roads is an incredibly rewarding experience. If you enjoy this transformation, please like, comment, and subscribe for more epic builds. Let us know what you want to see next. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.